Hello everybody and welcome to G for G, Games for Gamers. I'm your host, Napalm Dawn, and today we're here in Marvel Avengers Alliance to discuss Ultimate Level 15 class wombo combos. So basically what I mean by this is when, as you know, when a hero is now level 15, they have the ability to activate their class benefit at will. By the way, today's background soundtrack is brought to you by Perturbator. So a scrapper can gain the double attack even if there is no infiltrator on the field. A blaster can gain guaranteed crits even if there's no bruiser on the field. So what can that lead to? What ultimate destructive combinations can we pair off with this kind of a setup that leads to great results? And I'm basically going to tackle that today in this video to give you guys some ideas. In this video, I'm only going to be focusing on scrappers and infiltrators. The rest of the benefits, they're good, but they kind of speak for themselves. I mean, a bruiser gaining enraged without a scrapper, we don't need to discuss that. It's just buffing their stats. A generalist removing their debuffs. Again, don't need to discuss anything with that. A tactician gaining an extra turn. Again, don't really need to discuss that one too much because those you can kind of figure out on your own. And again, you also have to wait for round 2 for those. So in this video, I'm going to deal with mega infiltrators and scrappers. Kind of go down the list over here and give you some food for thought. I will tell you that there is going to be a very, very good PvP idea in this video evolving, basically circulating around Generalized. It's going to be a while before I discuss it, so while I'm doing this video, I want to give you guys a test. I want you to think, what generalized spreading counterattack could be comboed into another person who happens to really like generalized, setting up for some really, really awesome combinations. So think about that, and then we'll get around to it. We'll do that reveal. So over here we start off pretty good. Black Widow as an infiltrator. Oh, by the way, for this video, I'm mostly going to be talking about infiltrators with the ISO that says their counter is a pre-fire. Their counter becomes a pre-counter. So that's what I'm focused on for this video. So please keep that in mind for the infiltrators, that I'm talking about pre-counters. A martial arts combo as a pre-counter is very, very good because of the fact that it applies combo setup. If you are running it with her Age of Ultron kit, she already has another counter. So she could pre-counter, chance to counter enemy's attack, okay? The ISO says that your counters become pre-counters. So she could potentially pre-counter with Flying Kick or Widow's Bite and then maybe her own counter. As a scrapper, she doesn't get too much of a benefit of having an automatic follow-up, but if she was a scrapper and led with a Flying Kick and then followed up with a martial arts combo, it's not too bad. Or doing a Widow's Bite and a martial arts combo, not too bad. Captain Steve Rogers as a scrapper has a little bit of a nice combo here, and that is over in his counterintelligence set. If he goes with a leading strike, which applies a generalized, and then shield bashes with a D power, I've always enjoyed that combo. I've done that many, many times when somebody is flanked. I happen to like it. I think that's a pretty good follow-up for him. Hawkeye, as an infiltrator, could be way more destructive than you think. You have to go to his original Avengers outfit in order to find his infiltrator one. But let's imagine this Hawkeye with his knocking ISO. The one that says that he has a chance to pre-fire. And now you're giving him a guaranteed pre-fire by being an infiltrator. This could be really, really good because he may go into a rapid-fire spin while the person is attacking. So, for example, the enemy agent goes to use a grace note, and Hawkeye leads because of the ISO over here. Either the knocking or the pre-fire. Well, actually, yeah, you wouldn't be able to equip both. You'd have to choose. If he equipped the special infiltrator ISO over there, and then he fired off a sure shot after everybody was pinpointed, he could go into a rapid fire cycle. It works, but you need to make sure either staggered or pinpoint is out on people, and you can do that with the Scroll of Rudamarov. Or if you use like the X-Obliv or something like that. It's good, but it requires a tiny bit of setup. However, does Sure Shot actually put it out? No, it's only pinpoint. Yeah. So it exists, it requires some setup. Infiltrator Black Cat would be applying 3 stacks of bleeds as a pre-fire, so that means she goes first, you now have 3 stacks of bleeds, you do your action, you bleed out 3 times. It's not bad. As a scrapper, her follow-ups are not that good, but what I would do would be Unlucky Strike into the cat scratch. Colossus does not really gain anything too amazing as a scrapper, because he could lead with Decimate and then apply Steel Fist, but it's the wrong order. It's not that great. Daredevil is very good as a double hitting scrapper with one particular ISO, and that is the Reckless Rage. How it works is you start your combo with the Snap Kick, which applies Hobbled and Fumbling and the Reckless Rage, and then he follows up with 1 stack of internal bleeding. That means that when that person takes their next turn, they will do a follow-up of their own, and they just bleed out for it. So, with the Snap Kick ISO, yes, it's very good for him to do this as a scrapper. Without it, it's not really that worth it. Invisible Woman, we've probably all seen her in her Infiltrator kit, what it's like when she uses her combat reflexes. She would be spamming a shield, so if you have the circulating ISO, it's pretty good. Hafe as a dedicated scrapper is not particularly bad if combo setup is already out, because you can lead with Iron Fist and then follow up with Come On Combo, but again, it's the wrong order. But if somebody put out combo setup ahead of time, like a Quicksilver, then it works. Shadowcat is very, very strong as a pre-firing infiltrator. She already has a chance to counter. She already counters enemy attacks for the first few rounds of combat anyway. If she does that and pre-fires off of combat reflexes, she's doing a lot of attacking before the person has even attacked. It's pretty good. Null as a scrapper can either double stack Ragnarok and Sockham, which is phenomenal, because you do wide open and combo setup and then you immediately turn around and exploit it, or you could do Fatal Fist, which sets up the wide open for Ragnarok and Sockham to come around. It works. Null definitely works. Mr. Fantastic as a pre-firing infiltrator is actually better than you think. Here's why. If he pre-fires with his stretch punch, he is restraining the attack as it comes in. So if it's a ranged attack, it immediately is doing 40% less damage, can't crit, and it has a 50% chance to miss. So that actually gives a little bit of life to Mr. Fantastic and makes him viable. Scrapper Captain Marvel. She gets this from her chapter mastery. She is very strong as a guaranteed scrapper. She can lead with the Kree Strike, which gives perfect shot to the entire team. And then she follows up with the Photon Blast. So she is buffing her second attack, and now she's giving you Rally for free. That means in round 1, Scrapper bonus, Kree Strike into Photon Blast. And then in round 2, her buff becomes a quick action, and then you can do something else. So really like the way she accelerates as a scrapper. Nightcrawler is actually really good as both. He has a chance to pre-fire an ambush if he's got that ISO over there. So you're going to attack, Nightcrawler jumps in, hits you with a combo setup and a bleed on the way in. He then has a 60% chance to follow up with an ambush. So you might go to attack, Nightcrawler pre-fires on you and then starts a chain of unexpected strikes. Pretty good if you have some way of getting Paragon debuffs out, because now he's exploiting them. As a scrapper version of Nightcrawler, it's really solid because you could lead with the triple threat, which gives Dizzy, and then goes into an ambush, and then the ambush might follow up. So you may get 3 attacks for the price of 1. He's good either way. Infiltrator, White Crown, Phoenix. She would have a chance to pre-fire a Psyblast. The only reason where you would want to do this is if she had the Consuming Fire, Psyblast, Supply Soulfire. However, you can't stack both ISOs, so it falls flat. However, if you equipped her with Suppression, which made her shield every time she Psyblasted, it could be worth it, but unfortunately, the lack of ISO slots really defeats the combo there. Scrapper Skrin. She becomes a murder fest. I would really love to see this in action. Round 1, she applies the Scrapper bonus, and then goes into Burst of Speed. She stomps... she would motion granite somebody, which follows up with the Hammering Blow. That sets up Winded and Off Balance, which is Opportunist. Hammering Blow, which is Exposed, another Opportunist. She gives herself Breakthrough and Wind Up. That's still all the first turn. On her second turn, she stomps and follows up with the Hammering Blow. Super, super acceleration. Skrin would be a killer as a guaranteed scrapper. And if you have Null on your team, and Null is running the tag team ISO, you know how much melee you just fed Null? Really good. Sif is pretty good as a guaranteed scrapper, because she would lead with the Flying Sword, which says bleeding takes extra damage, and then she follows up with the thrust. Spider-Man is good either way, and in the current meta with people like Spider-Man Noir and everything, it breathes some life into original Spidey pretty nicely. As a scrapper, you can lead with the stun, and then it follows up with the web shot, so he's doing double duty. As an infiltrator, the black suit is where he shines. If he pre-fires a web shot, that means as the person is attacking, they then become webbed, and then they then gain Opportunist. The black suit exploits webs. So if somebody else put out webbing, and then he pre-fired as an infiltrator, his counter is now exploiting the webs, which is good. Kuurth is one of the ultimate scrapper abusers in this. If you use the scrapper suit on Kuurth, you have a huge combo. Round 1, don't do the scrapper bonus, just apply Fear Me. Round 2, do the scrapper bonus, put out a Road to Ruin, and then immediately exploit 2 runes on a Stonebreaker. So round 1, rune. Round 2, rune, exploit. If you use the ISO that says the runes stay after exploding, I mean, chances are that combo is going to kill somebody. If it doesn't, you can just continue to beat the shit out of them with the existing runes and never exploit them. Wolverine is not too bad as a scrapper and infiltrator. Scarlet Witch is an infiltrator pre-firing is not too bad if Hex Spheres has already gone out, because what she would do is she would pre-fire the Arcane Blast, which is pretty good because it has the reduced potential chance, and it has a chance to cause debuff if Hex Spheres have gone out. Emma Frost right now is the queen of pre-firing infiltrators, and a lot of people know this. If Emma Frost has combat reflexes and pre-applies Psychic tap, it's a guaranteed psychic tap proc. Because you go to attack, Emma goes psychic tap, the attack goes through, and then immediately you take the damage from mental anguish. The other thing you could do is really jack that up with either mind control or the psychic related ISO that applies that like chilled and everything like that. Yeah, Emma Frost right now is one of the queens of pre-firing infiltrators. Deadpool as a guaranteed scrapper is only good in his X-Force suit because of the Moonbuster. He can apply sharp pointy things to somebody, and because they now have buffs, he turns around, follows it up with a huge Moonbuster. Or you could accelerate him to Happy to See You by doing Bang Bang Bang, which follows up with sharp pointy things. So now he gains both buffs, and he goes into No Holds Barred in round 2. Quicksilver as a dedicated scrapper is good because he could apply blinding punches, which then immediately follows up with tag team. So it's pretty good. Ghost Rider is actually not too bad as a guaranteed scrapper. You can either apply Highway to Hell, which soul fires everybody and then follows up with Damnation Chains, or take advantage of Path to Damnation and double sin the target. So that means in round 1, Dark Void and Poison goes out on the target because of the 2 hits. Beast. Beast as an infiltrator. What did I say in the beginning of the video about Generalized? Beast as a pre-firing infiltrator would be pre-applying Generalized before you attack and a chance at Nanoplague. On defense, I think 60% is low. It feels more like 80. Think of this combination of a pre-firing Generalized Pesty and Silk on the field together. I think that's big, and we'll come around to Silk at the end, but think about what it's like if Pesty has a chance to Nanoplague somebody as they attack and a guaranteed Generalized as they attack. Tigra pre-applying Razor Claws is not too bad because she would give herself Sharpened Claws. Psylocke is very good as a pre-firing infiltrator because she would be applying Weak Mind on the attack, which means when it's her turn she can Psychic Knives for extra damage. Punisher actually has both Scrapper and Infiltrator potentials. I don't like him that much as an infiltrator. Pre-applying off-balance weaken is not that good. But going from a Tangler Grenade into the Combat Dagger is really good. I do like that combination. X-23 is okay as a guaranteed scrapper. Classic Wasp would be pre-firing Biofeedback, Impaired, and a chance to stun off of the in-cap. Not bad. She would be reducing the damage of the attack as it comes in. Not that thrilled with it. Vision would be good if you could go into the infiltrator mode, proc your class benefit, and then come back over to Blaster, because then you could be pre-countering people with the buff blocker, if it allows you to do that. If you can bring your combat reflexes to your Blaster side, it works. Omega is a scrapper, not that good. Shatterstar is a huge scrapper. A guaranteed scrapper for Shatterstar has a really nice combo, and I'll lay it out for you. Round 1, scrapper bonus, go into the Gladiatorial Carnage. He uses this, and then he follows up with Blade Maelstrom. Because that's what he does. His attack is an AoE as a follow-up. That causes pain on everybody. Round 2, he now has 2 turns. He uses Mojo Skewer to set up with a Tenderize, and then he follows up with the Blade Maelstrom. So now pain is at 2 stacks. The target is tenderized. Then you Vibro Shockwave, which exploits the tenderize in a huge way. Follows up with the Blade Maelstrom. Vibro Shockwave following the Mojo Skewer is guaranteed lots of damage. Worth investigating. Union Jack as a guaranteed scrapper means you don't actually need the Victorious ISO. Here's why. In round 1, use the scrapper bonus, hit somebody with Trench Warfare, he follows up with the Service Revolver. He gains his melee shot, he gains his range shot. Really, really good. That means you can sort of spread the love a little bit if you want to continue to run the Victorious ISO. You can flank one person and then use your scrapper bonus on somebody else. Angel is not that great as a scrapper. You would essentially put out Famine and you would follow up with War. Satana, pre-applying Fiery Fist as an infiltrator, is really solid because she would be withering the enemy team as the attacks come in. You go to attack, immediately 10% is taken off of the damage. Further stacks would make it worse. Plus, Slowed is put out on your team at that point, and Sin is put on herself. It's not bad. Electra pre-firing with heavy size would only really be good if you can set the person up to bleed before the pre-fire goes out. Squirrel Girl might be really awesome as a guaranteed scrapper. You would use Furry Fury as a quick action with the Summon ISO, and then you can jack up some nuts to this using the 3 Acorn powers, and then just start doing Pain Train and Exhausted on people. Sabretooth as a guaranteed scrapper is not too bad. He's better after that, where he can apply the Blood Frenzy, and then immediately put the Blood Frenzy stacks back. So here's where he exploits his whole like Bloodlust thing, and then he can reapply it. Or he can double Claw Swipe, which is really good, because then it stacks the bleeding. Agent Venom, not that good. The Warriors 3. The Warriors 3, with their class benefits, are actually really, really good. Hogun can choose between being a scrapper or an infiltrator. Pre-countering with wind-up swing is great, because it gives himself wind-up and breakthrough for you to use when you actually control him. Or as a scrapper, double wind-up swings are great if you run the ISO that says the follow-ups and everything increase attack. Hogun benefits greatly from this new level 15 system. Fandral does too. If Fandral activates his combat reflexes, he will pre-apply Have At Thee, which sets up Pincushion, and if you've done On Guard, you have 2 pre-counters going out. One for the Deep Power, and one for the Have At Thee. It's solid. Falcon, pre-applying Swoop, not that great. Yeah, you got a chance at rising up, and he creates a lead the charge that does not penalize him. It's not too bad. Movie Gamora and Movie Star-Lord are a really nice combo, but only one of them can pre-fire because we only have one of the ISOs. A pre-firing Mortal Strike with bleeds and the Doom and everything like that, it's worth looking into. About as good as the Psychic Tap. Shayna pre-firing with Spear Vault is really, really good if you have opportunity exploiters, because Winded, Hobbled, and Cornered are all opportunistic debuffs. So it's actually a little more solid than you think. Scrapper Drax, it's okay. It allows him to do 2 things at once. Honestly, the Ravaged into it obliterates okay. Medusa shockingly does really well on a pre-fire. If she pre-fires Splitting Hairs, she ties the enemy up, and then Medusa is forced into tanking that person. So you can actually create a scenario where Medusa starts tanking everybody because of that bordered tied up debuff. Really good if you kit her out to be a tank. She'll start intercepting things, and then she'll start tanking the things. Movie Star-Lord pre-firing Spray and Pray is very good for rising up teams. It's worth a look. Fortunately, Gorgon is not a scrapper, so he doesn't benefit from that. Blade, meh. Pre-firing Fly By Night, no. Hybrid as an infiltrator, pretty solid if you had opportunistic debuffs out there. Pretty good if you had like the Scroll of Runamaroth on defense, and then he exploits it as a pre-fire. It's not bad. A Scrapper hybrid doesn't have any real crazy combos, unfortunately. Enchantress, pre-firing magic missiles. Very, very good if you combine it with the sympathetic ISO, because then that means she heals before the attack even comes in. It's solid. Angel is a guaranteed scrapper, believe it or not, is really not as good as you think. Chase as a guaranteed scrapper is awesome. That means you can apply flanked and disadvantage and then immediately get one of his level 1s for free. Worth it. Pre-firing Dragon Claw puts out a stack of Crackle. Chance to trigger electric shock after performing a hostile action. So this is like the psychic tap from Emma Frost. He pre-applies it, your attack goes off, and then you take the crackle damage. Potentially really good with Beta Ray Bill or other electricity people, especially if that whole chain lightning is out. Over here, Ultimate Spider-Man, not really. It's not that great. And Ant-Man is not that great. Spider-Man 2099 as a guaranteed scrapper is also very good. You would lead with the Jam It, which creates blindsided and flanked. Blindsided is like pincushion. And then you immediately take advantage of blindsided by applying future webbing and the straining. So he's good as a dedicated scrapper. Silk. I want to read you something here. Chance to protect and block a generalist or a generalized enemy attack, gaining rising up and reducing the damage of the attack. Counters with Silk Shield when blocking a generalist or generalized enemy attack applying webbed and generalized. Think about this. When teamed up with a Infiltrator Pesty with combat reflexes, the enemy goes to attack, Pesty pre-fires with the general. If the attack is aimed at Pesty, let's remember this. For this all to work, the attack has to be aimed at the Infiltrator. Pesty pre-fires and hits the generalized, the nanoplague misses. Now the person is generalized. Now Silk jumps in, tanks it, gains rising up, and immediately applies webbed, which then accelerates them into getting stunned and being unable to move. Really nice combo. I think it's worth taking a look into, and I may even try it out. So, that's the video, guys. I know it's long, but there's a lot of awesome combos in here. Emma Frost is by far one of the best pre-firing infiltrators right now. Enchantress is also pretty good. Medusa might turn out good if she starts intercepting everybody. Enchantress is also pretty good as the heal comes in before the attack rather than after. It's, you know, either way on that one. Some of the scrappers are huge. You're really good scrappers on that. I mean, actually, we passed by World War Hulk. World War Hulk is not too bad with it. But people like Sif are really good with it. Skrin is phenomenal. Kuurth is, I think, by far the best one. Captain Marvel does good. Shatterstar does pretty good. Chase, Spider-Man 2099. Karnak is actually also really good as a guaranteed scrapper. And Deadpool, X-Force Deadpool, also comes out really ahead when you guarantee the class benefits. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it sparked some PvP team ideas for you. And stay tuned to the channel later today for the Week in Marvel Avengers Alliance, which will be a separate video. See you, everybody.